Welcome. My name is Melissa, and this is my channel, Healing the Hurt. This segment is dedicated specifically to those who are dealing with trauma. I've been a trauma therapist for more than a decade now, and I've worked with people with all kinds of trauma, whether it's the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, maybe a severe car accident, everywhere from the present day circumstances to dealing with issues in the past, childhood abuse, dealing with the loss of a parent, maybe when someone was very young. And as an adult, sometimes those things come back around and you realize there's still a little bit more to be processed and a little bit more healing to be done. Well, today we're going to talk specifically about dissociation. Dissociation is a beautiful coping mechanism that God created in all of us to be able to cope with things that are overwhelming. But sometimes when someone is very young and their trauma is very overwhelming, that dissociation kind of increases to a whole new level. They can develop what's called dissociative identity disorder, or DID. And that happens when the child who is there living life every day encounters some kind of trauma or abuse that's so overwhelming that they can't handle it. They would literally become unstable or insane if they tried to handle it on their own. And God designed in them a way to be able to split into two kind of people internally, two different functions in their brain to be able to handle one side of the trauma and then to be able to handle regular life as a kid. As the trauma may continue for some children, that splitting turns into more and more and more and more until soon there's more than one self state or alter or part of that person's identity that help them function and help them survive situations that would be insurvivable. It's kind of a hard concept to wrap your brain around. If you are unfamiliar with dissociation and DID as a whole, I've written a book called Trauma Coping Systems, and that's available on Amazon. And that kind of breaks down this extreme dissociative state in a way that presents it how the Lord designed it, as his coping for young children to be able to manage very, very difficult situations. We all dissociate when we're overwhelmed, whether it's driving from work to home and all of a sudden you get home and you're like, I don't remember that drive. Did I stop at all the lights? I'm a little worried. That's dissociation. Our brain just kind of parts ways. Our body goes into autopilot to drive while our brain is just kind of whirling, or maybe in the dead zone where it's just kind of quiet up there, something to take a break. That's dissociation. That's normal, healthy dissociation. But what we're talking about in this segment is dissociation to the extreme level, where it's not just the body's driving home and the brain is processing whatever, but it's actually living out of completely different belief systems or completely different parts of oneself. What I like to call that is a trauma coping system. I've worked with many people that have had a diagnosis of DID over the years, but I've worked with many people who are highly dissociative from abuse and they don't have a diagnosis of DID. And rather than trying to see who fits in, who qualifies for the specific mental health diagnosis, I just kind of take my clients as they come. And if they have that severe level of dissociation, we call that a trauma coping system. The healing process is the same, whether you have an official DID diagnosis or you just have some differing things going on internally that you have to deal with. We're able to walk through that with the Lord's help. He designed the system to split to handle the trauma, and he equally designed the system to be healed once you or that individual is in a safe place to be able to heal. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about dissociation throughout this segment. Over the next few weeks, we're going to go through my other book, which is called Trauma Coping System Devotional. And we're going to read some of these devotions together and just help you. Maybe you're starting this journey for the first time on your own. Maybe you have a loved one who is dissociative and you want to know how to pray for them or how to help them. As we go through this devotional together, we are going to give you an opportunity to pray for them or to surrender your own issues to the Lord for healing. He loves you so much. He designed you. He created you. Jeremiah 29:11 says that he has good plans for you, hope for a good future. Sometimes it's really hard to see that when you're living in a dissociative state or when you're living with pain and trauma from your past. But it is possible. And I hope that the tools that we present over these next couple of months will be very helpful for you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that you'll join me next time as we start into our new devotional.